And so, beloved masters, greetings on this day. Tonight we are going to speak to you about the element of earth. Every element has such power, and the earth is the power of physicality, the human body, the earth herself, and the essences of nurturance, of shelter, of empowerment, of connection. The planet is involved in these times in a great deal of upheaval. And a lot of people are talking about the fact that there are scientists who are creating all the problems on the planet. So people are saying these issues are all man-made. And the truth of it is, we wouldn't argue with the fact that they are made by humanity. But a lot of the upheaval, emotionally, mentally, physically, that is contributing to the earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes, tsunamis, and all other violent activity is being generated by the rage of humanity. That humanity has not, in quite a long time, been educated to discipline their emotions. And I will say that the word discipline, when it is considered by the logical mind, is thought of to be something that would be highly restrictive. So people think of discipline as a form of control, but it really isn't. Discipline is a connection in love of body, mind, emotions in the embrace of spirit, of the elements, fire, air, earth, and water, with spirit sitting in the middle and imbuing and empowering all of the elements that deal with the physical aspects of life, the mental, the emotional, and spirit empowers all of it. Earth is the foundation under the feet of humanity, whether it is sand, whether it is loam, whether it is arid or whether it is fertile, whether it is the rocks that constitute the mountains. It is in all of the planet the support system that bears life in every facet. The oceans constitute the largest point and part of the land mass on the earth. Oceans. And Yes, the continents are the landmass, but people do not really consider that the ocean bed is still a part of the Earth structure, the bones of the planet that hold her in shape and form. It is said that some people are earthy people. They have an innate attachment to the things of the earth. Farmers, gardeners, those that do landscaping, those that move the soil from one place to another, those who climb the mountains, earthy people. And yet, there is not one human being on this ball that isn't constituted of the elements of the earth. All of the chemical parts that equate with the human form. And so it is the earth. In many instances, when people pass from their physical shell, the earth opens her body, and the body of the human is placed in the earth. And only in more recent years has it become a consideration of the logical, practical mind that it is objectionable, it is dirty to place a human vehicle directly into the Mother Earth. So instead, all manner of toxic substances, of metals and plastics, but even though metal is indigenous to the earth and wood is a part of the earth, a lot of the treatment that the metals get in order to make a coffin are loaded with toxins, and plastics do not return to the earth in any manner. They simply remain there with a life beyond human life. So now, here we are in the 21st century, and many people are beginning to consider perhaps it would be a great wisdom to return the physical body naturally to the Mother Earth. That the truth of ashes to ashes and dust to dust can be fulfilled, but that there is a nurturance in blending with the earth's elements for the physical form. And it is. In these times, humanity is being moved more and more energetically to a place where the transformation of the earthy physical form will allow humanity to live much longer lives than they have before. Not just to live marking time. This person has been on the earth for 100 years or 150 years, but to really live. To live a longer life, because living the life is fulfilling, it is joyful, it is full of promise. There is grand potential in the ability to dream the life's ongoing. And as the physical body is informed by spirit, the interdependence between earth and spirit becomes so much more powerful, bringing life, longevity, and the delight of the experience. And the earth can flourish. The idea of Eden, filled with beauty and wonder and life force, flowing waters and verdant forests, and agriculture that is so amazingly rich with nutrients that aren't enhanced by products that are petroleum based. Because yes, even though the petroleum comes from the earth, the oil, the gas is pumped from the earth, it isn't something that the human body is compatible with when it's ingested. And yet, pesticides and fertilizers very often are considered to be enhanced with petroleum products that have slowly began to compromise the human body. And now, in the energy of these times, it is for each human being to consider within themselves, imagine, see, visualize, feel the earth as she was when first created, when things were being formed, and everything in her development was subject to the dreams and desires of those that would come and live on her surface. And as time passed, those who would live under her oceans and deep in the ground, the nurturance, the shelter, the power of earth. So, when earth is called in a spell, It embraces, it stabilizes, it nurtures, it shelters. It is the power of the planet itself that is called upon when the element of earth is invited to join the spell, the ritual, the calling of the elements. And dearly beloved masters, to feel that nurturance, the energy that creates a wonderful garden. The fertility that will create a rainforest that has brought forth the sequoias and the giant redwoods. Wonderful. Power of hundreds of years of growth and involvement with the planet herself. And when you consider, dearly beloved masters, that you were placed on this earth as a physical form so long ago that it is beyond the finite mind's imagining. And yet, very much like the rings of the tree that mark what has happened through the cycles of growth, that tree has been on the earth by rock formations and the minerals that are involved with them that tell the story of the evolution of the planet, of massive earthquakes and volcanic activity, and the reaffirming of the changes in the earth. The times when a certain area was under the ocean, and the water has all gone away, and now the revelation in the geology of the planet that shows this was a seabed at one time, ocean bottom for a long time. And then things changed. And so, like the rings of the tree, like the stratum of the earth, the cellular memory that each person carries in their DNA has the record of every event, every life, every action, every activity, every emotion, and the outcome of choices made from the very beginning, when being in physicality was so new. And so to call the earth in a ritual, to call the power of the earth, to support, to sustain, to enrich, to nourish and nurture what is being called for in the spell that has been created. To feed the resources of a desire for creation, to give stability, foundations to what you are calling into your life. And as we speak of the elements, we continue to assure you that no one element is superior over the others, that no one element can actually accomplish anything without the support, the interdependence of all the other elements. So as you began to really contemplate, feel the elements in your life, it is, dearly beloved masters, you will begin to understand from the very center of your being that no one person can function altogether on their own. Every person is a composite of all the elements, including spirit. And to honor, to respect, to embrace, to integrate all of the elements into the earth energy, so that you feel the power. When you are preparing a ritual and you call the elements clearly, powerfully, as you are present, not just intellectually saying words or being ritualistic, because that has become the way of rituals for many. This is what you do. And you do it by rote. And it doesn't really attract a great deal of power. But when you call the earth, you may feel almost as though you were lying on the ground. You may feel the moisture in the soil. You may feel the heartbeat of the mother pulsing, and realize that as you attune with the element of earth, you recognize that your heartbeat will begin to align with that of the Earth Mother. Some like to use a ritual drum and beat the heartbeat of the mother, so that all involved in the ritual may feel that alignment with the rhythms of the earth. To align your life with the cycles of life, intuitively feeling into the seasons, the cycles, the changes. The more attuned, in harmony, aligned with the earth you become, the more acutely aware you began to become with feeling the seasons. And the mind has described the seasons in very neat and tidy ways. And this is when summer begins, and this is when autumn starts, and this is when the winter comes, and this is the time for spring. But when you align with the seasons, dearly beloved masters, you began to feel the energy of the earth as she changes. Many people genuinely rejoice when spring comes. They feel the beginning of new life. They are excited about the winter's passing. And the very energy of the sap rising in the trees rises and brings a new sense of empowerment to the human body. For those who don't want to move, don't want to change, don't want to have much part with any new difference, springtime can be very worrisome, because it literally feels as though it pushes. The juices are flowing, and there is so much more energy. And for those whose nature moves a little slower, very often those of the earth and those of the sign and element of water may find the springtime to make them feel as though they're being pressured, that they can't move fast enough or get things done quickly enough. As spring moves to summer, at the summer solstice, and the days have become as long as they're going to. And from that point to the winter solstice, the days gradually get shorter. There is less light, and at the autumnal equinox, that wonderful time of year that the autumn brings, of crisp, cool days and a chill in the air at night, the leaves begin to turn, and in some climates there is frost already beginning to kiss the pumpkin, so to speak. And the time of harvest is upon the earth. And Samhain, the All Hallows Eve, when the veil between the earthy energy and the spirit is the thinnest in the whole year. Feeling within your very body, intuitively, energetically, the changes that are influencing the Earth Mother because you are a part of her. That wonderful belonging to cycle into the natural rhythms of life rather than trying to make nature comply to what you think should happen. And so it is, dearly beloved masters, because you are connected to the earth through physicality, the things of nature are highly important to give you what you genuinely require. Because that attunement with the cycles and the rhythms of life on the planet, of the seasons, of the flow, of the heartbeat of the mother. Those of you that have a special affinity with earth may be more attuned to the rhythms of earth than those that have an affinity with fire or air or water. But to feel the elements, to be open, to feel them,